Today's question is, what was banned at your school?
In my middle school, they banned kids from saying, "Whoop, there it is." Yep, if you said it, you got detention. They banned running at my elementary school. If you ran during recess, you'd be sitting on the bench for the rest of the break. My friend ran into a teacher accidentally while we were playing tag. She didn't fall or anything, but it was probably a bit of a surprise. This prompted Ms. Mean to punish the whole school. So she self-righteously banned running. The next day, Ms. Mean met with all the 5th grade classes to justify her decision. She said people only need 1 hour of exercise a week to be healthy. It was ridiculously stupid, and that's not any sort of justification for the decision. The tension in the room was palpable. My 5th grade teacher just sat at his desk, chuckling at the sheer ridiculous nature of the whole thing. The next day, the entire 4th grade and 5th grade sat down by the play structure for the entirety of recess. When they told us to stop sitting together via megaphone, everyone walked around the perimeter of the kickball field and sang songs together. My friends and I made a ton of flyers to bring back running. While we were handing them out before school, the principal grabbed one. We thought we were in huge trouble. It turns out the principal was never told about this ban on running. Mean old lady was taken off yard duty. I don't think she works at my elementary school anymore. Viva la revolution. Shaving your head for cancer. To set the scene, I went to a private all-girls school. If you had cancer and lost your hair, I guess they would allow it, but they would make you wear a school-colored bandana or a wig. A girl in our year actually had cancer and lost her hair, and she wore a bandana to school. As a show of support, this alternative girl, think Janice from Mean Girls, decided to shave her head for cancer awareness. The school was all for it. We had a fundraiser and then had the actual shaving of the head at school. She then refused to immediately cover her freshly bald head and was sent home for the day. She then refused to cover her freshly bald head at all because she said it's nothing to be ashamed of, and that's kind of the point of doing it. She was suspended until she agreed to wear a bandana or a wig. Eventually, she missed so much school that her parents and the school had a big sit-down, and in the end she agreed to wear a wig. The next day, she turned up in the most ridiculous Florence Henderson wig I've ever seen, and it was awesome. And no one was allowed to ever shave their head for cancer again. Edit. It was in Australia, and yes, it was a Catholic school. Edit 2. Just realized that a good portion of my top comments are related to my schooling in Australia. Never thought it was very eventful or interesting really, until now. Sharpies/permanent markers. Senior year, a group of kids organized a knife fight throughout the school. Basically, the people participating would wear plain white shirts and be split into gangs. Each gang was armed with a different color marker. The goal was to stab people on other gangs as many times as possible. After a couple injuries and couple people who accidentally wore white that day, the administration got more than a little angry. Edit. Plain to plain. My 3rd grade English teacher would be ashamed. They banned scarves in my high school because apparently the first-year principal got the idea in her head that only gang members wear scarves. The weirdest part was we lived in an upstate New York town that never had anything close to a gang problem. Long story short, every student protested by wearing scarves the next day. CNN caught wind of it, and my school got national attention for the first and last time. Shortly after that, the principal was fired. Scarves were allowed again, and everyone stopped wearing them like usual. TLDR principal banned scarves, got fired almost immediately after. Pokemon cards were banned at my elementary school. People complained about shitty trades, and it was basically used as currency. One kid refused to comply. My teacher made him go buy a clear backpack. It was a private school, so she apparently could do that shit. So she could check his shit without having to dig through it. Funny thing is, I have no fucking idea why that kid kept bringing them when no one else in the school did. What the fuck were you doing with them, Matthew? Edit. So apparently a Matthew, with a clear backpack, in the late 90s, that went to a private school, who also happened to get Pokemon cards banned, is a super common thing on Reddit. Also, many are curious this was in Colorado. Also, Matthew clearly didn't have a problem finding a clear backpack because he had one the day after my shitty teacher told him to go buy one. My high school banned the word MEP. You know, like from the Muppets? Teachers thought MEP was used to mean something else, like something sexual. Nope. It was just funny to murmur it in the middle of class. In my elementary school, my friends used to play pretend to be addicted to drugs and addictive substances like alcohol and smoking. One student came up with the idea that cocaine was a lot similar to sugar, so students started smuggling sugar around the school. Some genius ended up putting Kool-Aid mix into his, and then everyone started calling it happy crack. This underground kiddie drug ring ran for about 4 to 5 weeks under the school's radar until a teacher caught 2 kids making a deal. Then everyone who was involved had to sit in a giant lecture in the cafeteria and listen to the principal explain that our happy crack was a gateway drug and that it would ruin our lives. TLDR, my elementary class made a drug and ran an underground ring across the school. School wasn't happy. One of my teachers is very laid back but has a strict no phone rule while he's teaching. 2 kids decided to buy walkie-talkies and bring them to class just to mess with the teacher. Now at the beginning of every year or semester, he writes his cell phone policy on the board as well as his no walkie-talkie rule in capital letters. Holes in jeans were banned. You couldn't even have a fray, even if there wasn't a hole there, in your jeans without getting chewed out by the principal. So kids would put tape over their jeans to cover up the holes. Well, he banned putting tape over your jeans too because it's disruptive. He then banned the girls from wearing tank tops underneath their low-cut shirts. They did this so their cleavage wouldn't show, because apparently a tank top is an undergarment. He also banned chains on jeans, silly bans, and 2 guys were not allowed to go to a dance together, but 2 girls were. Changing the wallpapers on the computers was a no-no. Bouncy balls, bringing your own water bottles, and bringing your own coffee was out of the question. He would take your phone and go through your messages if you were caught on it in class, even if there was an emergency. There's more, but I forgot a lot of them because I graduated a couple years ago. From what I've heard, he's still finding random shit to ban to make the lives of high school kids miserable. My high school principal was, and still is, an asshole. Vending machines. Senior year, one nondescript day, I noticed the candy machine wasn't completely locked. I thought, oh well, I got my Twix, I'm good to go. A classmate was behind me and took notice that I had fiddled with the door a little and that it wasn't locked. By 9 a.m. the machine was empty. All hell broke loose. Announcement called all the seniors down to the cafeteria to condemn us for it. Catholic high school, they knew how to guilt. A couple of my classmates were blamed. The ones with stolen goods in their lockers. The rest of us didn't get to use the vending machines at our free periods the rest of the year. I probably could have snuffed the whole issue out quick by slamming the door to the machine, but 18-year-old me didn't give a flying F. At graduation, we all threw Hershey miniatures in memorial to the vending we lost. We had a poop smasher incident that prohibited use of the bathrooms during lunch for an entire year. Edit. Alright, so, the poop smasher. One day, during lunch, the accused left the cafeteria to go to the bathroom. In an attempt to impress his comrades, he then squatted down and shat right in the middle of a styrofoam tray that had been laying on the ground. Since he believed that wasn't enough of a wow, he then took the tray and spread the contents all over the bathroom walls and the handles of the sinks. And that's how he was born. His name will forever remain in my heart. I love you, Poop Smasher. There was a brief ban on paper airplanes in 7th grade physics class. The teacher then challenged the class. If we could make 50 planes and land each one in the trash can from across the room, he would rescind it. Challenge accepted. Of course, an airplane that is crumpled into a ball and sealed with tape is still a plane. After 25 went in, he agreed that 1. I was a smartass. 2. The ban was rescinded. 3. I had better visit his class after graduating from engineering school. It was. And I did. In 8th grade, I was part of the first graduating class of a new school in my town. Since it was just starting out, administration was still finding its way. Because of this, as the year passed, they banned glue because of sniffing, Sharpies, ditto, and vandalizing. Rubber bands, they were used to fire wasps, little pieces of paper, at each other. tennis balls chucked at each other for some reason. Walking across the cafeteria, or switching tables, or even walking clockwise around the cafeteria. They decided you could only walk counterclockwise around it to avoid students bumping into each other. And we had assigned seats. And this is the end of today's video. I hope you liked it, and don't forget to comment an anecdote or experience similar to the topic of the video. Leave your like, share if you liked the video, and lastly, don't forget to activate the little bell so you don't miss any of our daily videos. Bye-bye.